Welcome to ICEF Monitor. I'm sitting here with Magdy Attalla from BHMS. Magdy, how long have you been in the industry?
I have been working in this business for about 20 years. 10 of them were mainly academic. The other 10 years are focused on recruitment activities, marketing, and consulting with different universities in Europe and UK as well.
I understand that not every student is the same. So how do you categorize students when they come into your office? Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
This is one of the most difficult questions, actually. In marketing, we have something called consumers and customers. In education, Papa is a decision maker, but that little daughter, she's going to study. She is, for us, the consumer, while the father is the customer, because he's paying the money. So we need to work personas on both of them, on consumers and customers in this case. The easiest forms of personas, we always say, well, school leaver, 18 years old. But that's not a persona, because these are millions of people. So there is no segmentation here. We need to be more specific now. So we go deeper by segmenting them geographically. That's easy one. Where do they live? We segment them demographically. Demographically is more meaningful because they tell us more about their age, their income level, high income, middle class, low income, and that will give us some clues on their needs of education. So it's not an easy answer, but there are easy ways of segmenting your clients. And there are more complicated ones. Another form of segmentation, we call it psychographic segmentation, where we put people based on lifestyle. Different lifestyles, different choices of education. And the choice of exotic education or the same stream, one stream education, it depends on really the people. But again, we will be conflicting here on it's the consumer and the customer. And who is decision maker here? Is it the mama or it's the daughter? Because we've seen cases where daughter has more power on where to go. We've seen other cases where mama is telling her where to go. So it's such a very delicate issue where agents need to discover first who is now decision maker and how is their lifestyle look like after segmenting them demographically and geographically. So it's not a simple answer. For example, a very common story when I have papas with daughter and mama with the son. Generally speaking, it's a stereotype, but it's very true in many cases. Mamas, they wanted very much to hear about how safe is the environment of education, how much you will look after my daughter. That is so crucial. So the minute when I see mama, a decision maker, I will show her how safe the environment would be, how beautiful, how easy living will be. Fathers, they are much concerned about how much you will challenge my boy, how much you would be really showing them the ways to go in their life. So I would show them how much placement office we have, how much practical oriented we are, how much we will challenge your boy very much. And the papas will smile here. But mamas, when you tell her how much we challenge your girl, she gets scared and that could affect, of course, the outcome of her decision. So we are changing the language whenever we speak to mamas, papas, because again, we have different stereotypes. Having said that, I've met lots of mamas are concerned about career more than safety, while papas are concerned about the life, the environment in the campus. So we have to be very sensitive where we are putting all our senses running all the time when we are listening, if we can listen very well to our customers.
Does that change by culture, maybe by age, maybe where a student is from, where family is from?
Absolutely. I was very active sometimes in Southeast Asia, in Asia, South Asia, and East Europe. I can tell you, families, concerns in Asia is completely different than in Russia, for example, where you see different concerns and you have to be attentive to all those concerns. You'll be selling one single institute, but when I change countries, I change my hats, and I change my language the minute you meet those guys. South Asia market, they are very much interested on career prospects. What do I do with my son after education? They can pay you all the money if you can guarantee them that son will get a job after the education. I'm talking about academic education, of course. While East Europe, they don't really give that much value to placement afterwards, but they will be very much interested on the ranking of the institutes, how much this institute reputation in the market, and eventually, of course, if you get them placement, they'll be very, very happy. But they still have possibilities to turn back and start their career where they are from. So these are different market, different needs, and we need to respond to those needs all the time.
You talked about the importance of finding out who is the decision maker, but how do you discover these things?
This is exactly it, Florian. So we always say the best counselors are the best listeners. 80% of the time, they should sit down and listen to their clients before they open their mouth and say anything. And that is the biggest mistake of counselors. They think they have to say something now first. But actually, they should not say nothing first. They should sit down, get quiet, and listen.
You stress the importance of the experience of learning how to listen. Is there any advice you can share with our audience, how to learn how to listen?
We role play it in classrooms. We always do that on a role play. And I said, practice. I put down 2 students in the front, and I give the story to one student only, and the other student has to discover those needs. And classrooms are watching, and they will role play. And I always tell them, role play with each other. And I do training to many Asians, and I role play with them as well. And I give a story to one counselor, and I don't tell the story to the other. And she will stand up to play a customer, and she will tell her my needs. And based on her reaction, we will discover easily if she listened or not. And students will discover that, oh, she did not listen. She told her something, but she never responded to that thing. So it's just practice, practice, practice.
Let's talk a little bit about agent training you just mentioned. There are a lot of agents out there, and a lot of agents are actually representing many, many institutions. How do you make sure your institution is represented the right way?
And again, Florian, that's a challenging question, of course. We do this all the day, all the time. I do training to Asians, and I don't train them to sell my product. I train them to be better counselors. Because if they are better counselors, they will sell my product at the end of the day better than anybody. But at the end of the day, they always need our intervention all the time, where we can really help them to answer the tiny little questions that they are not really able to answer that. But I always come back to those agents when an agent tells me, I'm working for everybody and I'm recruiting for all institutions in Europe. I'll be very reluctant to work with those agents. So we are selective now. I don't work with all agents that work with everybody, because this trend is really fading away.
Is this the only criteria? How do you select an agent, or how do you do that?
So I look at them based on geographically, where do they recruit students to. If they recruit students to Europe, that is a good sign for me. If they recruit for academic programs. So these are the 2 main criteria, actually. Other than that, all things will go. But in the meantime, if I see them recruiting for all my direct competitors, for example, I get reluctant by helping them, because I believe on the market is not so huge to divide that cake among those competitors. So I wanted to work with people that focus their activities with me, not necessarily one school in one country, but at least one specialization in that specific region. So I really get excited when I see agents putting their power on me, and that is actually the future as well. I don't believe on mass marketing in Asia. These days are gone. It's a niche marketing now, and if they embark into this train, they will survive. But if an agent wanted to recruit students for all education institutions, those guys will be struggling big time in the coming years.
Magdy, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing this information, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Florian. All the best to you.